Fruity, bubbly, and refreshing. In my ever-evolving quest to ferment everything that I can, today I take a look at coconut water. If we can ferment plain water to make hard seltzer, then why wouldn't coconut water work? Stick around to find out. I'm Trent Musho, and this is the Brew Show. Let's make a coconut water hard seltzer. I've found that coconut water can be hit or miss for some people. Either you love it or you don't. It has a bit of sweetness and a unique, distinct flavor that regular water does not have. Full of antioxidants, coconut water is often sold as a more hydrating solution to regular H2O, as it restores hydration and replenishes electrolytes. And after making a few extremely delicious hard seltzers, I started wondering, could you ferment coconut water to make a coconut hard seltzer? I had to try it out, and the results were pretty interesting. You can sip it all on its own, or use it in a cocktail. Later I'll show you an easy and tasty cocktail using this fermented beverage, perfect for beating the heat as the weather warms up. Before we get started, please take a second to like this video, and subscribe for more simple fermentation videos like this. Now let's get into the recipe. Since this is more of an experiment, I'm just going to make a 1 gallon batch, but you can easily scale this up to any size you want. This recipe is super simple and can be easily done in just a few minutes. For starters, you need coconut water. 4 of these containers makes about 1 gallon. Of course, coconut water is not as inexpensive as normal water, but if you do some searching around, especially as the weather heats up, you'll find some good deals on coconut water at your local grocery store. As mentioned, coconut water has a touch of sweetness. In fact, this particular brand has an original gravity of 1.020, which if you fermented it as is, it could make for a 1.5% ABV drink. But I want to punch things up just a bit. So I'm going to be adding in some dextrose or corn sugar to raise the original gravity. I'm adding 6 ounces. You can use any sugar you want here as long as it's fermentable. If you really wanted to play into the coconut theme, you could totally use some coconut sugar. With the sugar dissolved in, I take an original gravity reading and get 1.035. That should get us a little more alcohol, but nothing too crazy. If you want, you can always add more sugar to make it more boozy. It's an experiment. Get wild. Next, we need some nutrients to help support the yeast. I'm sure there are some nutrients in coconut water, but I just want to be sure there's enough good stuff to help the yeast do their job, even if they're not doing as much heavy lifting here. So I'm adding in 1 teaspoon of DAP and 1.5 grams of Fermaid O. This duo of nutrients is my go-to for seltzers, ciders, and other fermentations where I'm unsure if the must has everything needed for healthy fermentation. If you're going to do a lot of alternative ferments other than beer, it's a good idea to stock up on these to have on hand anytime you feel like whipping up a batch. Lastly, it's time to add the yeast. I'm going to be trying out the popular Kveik on this one. This is specifically a Voss strain of Kveik from Lallemand. Kveik's great for experiments like this because it's super quick to ferment, can be fermented at a wide range of temperatures, and has a relatively low off-flavor production. The flavors that might get expressed are fruity and citrus, which would pair nicely with the coconut. What unique drinks have you fermented? Any ideas of what I should try fermenting next? Let me know in the comments. So with all that in, I give the fermenter a good shake to incorporate oxygen, pop an airlock on, and set it in a cool dark place for about a few days until fermentation activity seems to slow down. And they're not kidding about how fast this yeast ferments. Within 12 hours of pitching, the airlock was firing on all cylinders. And after 3 days of total fermentation, we hit final gravity. I took a gravity reading and got 1.008, meaning this coconut water comes in at 3.5% ABV. Having never made this one before, I decided to give it a try as is. The fermented coconut water has lost some of the sweetness from the original flavor, and I can taste just a tinge of funk. It's refreshing, but to bring a bit more interest into this, I decided to dose it with a bit of flavor. For this batch, I decided to use OliveNation extracts. They have a huge selection of flavors, so it was definitely hard to narrow it down. But I thought a passion fruit coconut seltzer sounded amazing. If you haven't checked out their website, take a look. They have endless possibilities for flavors for your next brew. OliveNation extracts are very concentrated, and a little goes a long way. So in order to find out how much I wanted to add, I pulled some samples and did some dosing experiments. I've gone over this in previous videos before, like in the chai pear cider video, but this liquid dropper with measurements is key to dosing properly. Once I felt like I had a good balance of flavor, I scaled it up to the rest of the batch. So for this 1 gallon batch, I'm adding about 1.5 milliliters of passion fruit extract. The key to getting good results with extracts is to not overdo it. Always start small and taste. You can always add more, but once you overdo it, there's almost no going back. Plus, seltzers are known for their more subtle character, so just go easy anyway. So with the extract in the keg, I filled it up with the fermented coconut water, closed it up, and added 30 psi of pressure. I also gave the keg a good shake here and there to make sure the extract was fully mixed in. If you don't have a keg, you can just bottle this up as you normally would. And if you wanted to add a little extract flavor, I would suggest dosing your fermenter before bottling, or you can even dose individual bottles with multiple flavors. Once the coconut water was fully carved up, this coconut water passion fruit hard seltzer was ready to drink. The color is very similar to the original coconut water. Slightly cloudy, but the big difference is the burst of bubbles that rush out and settle to the top. On the aroma, I mainly get tropical fruit notes from the passion fruit extract, but behind that, there's a hint of apple fruitiness that might be a note from the yeast fermentation. When I take the first taste, I immediately get coconut water. It's fresh, sweet, with a subtle nuttiness. Coconut is definitely the dominant flavor, but as it sits, the passion fruit flavor comes forward, which brings a great balance to that coconut flavor. The big thing to note is that at the end, this is still coconut water. So if you love that flavor, I think you'll really enjoy this, and I definitely recommend you give it a try. Each sip almost makes it feel like you're on a tropical vacation. You can get really creative with the flavor additions here, or if you want, keep it plain. Whatever way you choose, there's one way to use this coconut water to make a beverage even more supreme. I'm talking about a Frozen Piña Rum Cocktail. And it's super easy to make. Let me show you how. First, grab a blender and toss in some ice. Then add 6 ounces of your fermented coconut water, 6 ounces of pineapple juice, 2 ounces of your favorite rum, a squeeze of lime, and then blend until smooth. Pour into your glass of choice, and enjoy. Coconut water may not be for everyone, but it's hard to deny a delicious drink like this. The pineapple juice in this cocktail gave me a great idea. Imagine if you made some tepache and mixed it with this. Now we're talking. At the very least, I hope this video inspires you to try fermenting something new or unique. I know I certainly will be trying some other ferments coming soon. So be sure to subscribe for more fermentation experiments like this. Thanks for watching, and cheers. And while you're here, check out some of my other videos.